name is Dalton Mitchell, and I have a question that I don't really know how you all feel about, so I think I'm going to use this time to learn and also explain to you what I think. Should women be included in a future draft? So let's take a moment and visualize 20 to 30 years in the future and exclude pollution, disease, war crimes, stuff like that. And Wade, give me a country. Any country. Bangladesh? Dylan, give me a country.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, okay. So let's say Bangladesh and Afghanistan are fighting over oil. Great, that's a great example. And tensions become so high that nuclear warfare begins, and there's this effect called the domino effect, and we're just gonna assume that every single country is in an alliance, militarily, diplomatically, trade of some kind. And eventually, each country would start falling down like a domino, declaring war on this one, declaring war on this one, you get the whole point. And let's say the US becomes involved and fights on the side of Bangladesh, which would mean that we would probably have this beautiful thing called a selective service, in which men ages 18 to 25 would be registered for the draft. Now, I see one minor issue with this. Not the age. Can anyone guess what that would be? The gender, wow. So, I believe, I'm gonna go up and get to my point. Women should be able to go to the draft. If men can do it, why can't women? We should be able to do the same thing. Women have been fighting for equality for years. They've been on the home front during World War II. Some even more recently have begun to fight on the battlefields. Now I'm gonna give an example. The San Diego Union Tribune documented a series of experiments and tests done by the Marine Corps. I mean, obviously other branches have reached out because women do serve in our military today. But women untrained, with training of course, were put under circumstances like, firing this big boy piece of artillery right here, in boot camp scenarios with weaponry, and in major leadership positions, like a general, and that's a basic one. And the results were somewhat surprising to me, this first part. Women outperformed men in 30% of the categories, leadership, overall, everything. Now that may not sound like a big number or anything, but this next thing is that in certain scenarios, such as, like I said, using artillery, maneuvering amphibious assault vehicles, and manning tanks, basic fitness drills, there really was practically no difference between women and men. So if there's no difference, I think they should be able to go in the draft. Another issue that I've came upon the beginning of my research is, wouldn't they just be nurses? Or wouldn't they just be given a gun and just go in the Middle East or something like that? No. According to BalanceMyCareers.com, Don McKay, a professional career analyst, says that women can have hundreds and hundreds of different jobs, such as human service cooperation, an electrical engineer. You can work with animals, you can work in planes, you can basically do anything you want. Women have been given so many opportunities to do well in the military, and they've flourished. Whether that be, I guarantee you a woman saved a man's life at some point in the military. I can't physically document it for you, but I'm sure I can be a witness up here from the Army, so let's say. Now, I'm gonna take this in a little different perspective. I'm gonna straight up and say that if women aren't drafted, that's a little sexist in my opinion. I don't know how that feels to all of you because I don't hear any of you talking and stuff like that. The ACLU, the American Civil Liberty Union, took a series of cases down to a lower sense of courts to basically establish that a draft only involving men ages 18 through 25 to the selective service is unconstitutional because sex discrimination. Now, they wanted to go to the Supreme Court, but the problem is it didn't reach that far. While the courts basically said it was unconstitutional and morally wrong, it didn't actually make legislation. But what it did do is the US Department of Defense did lift the ban, and so now women are able to serve. I'm gonna give a professional example. This is the former Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus. Ray Mabus appealed to the Senate Armed Forces Committee. And Ray said to the Armed Forces Committee, as long as a person reaches the military qualifications has all the different requirements, is in perfect mental shape, then there's no reason for a quota based on gender. So hearing it from a naval professional always makes it, in my opinion, more real, more legit. And this is a picture of a group of Marines. You can see women are here. Women bring lots of different perspectives, different backgrounds, different ideas, and have opened lots of different job opportunities, such as human services, which really wasn't a huge thing in the military until more recently. So, you probably all know my point by now. I'm going to straight up say that women need to be in our military. Women make up 17% of our military forces today. We have 1.4 million troops on the ground, not in all the exact same place, obviously, but they make up a pretty big part of our military. Without them, I think we would honestly struggle, and I think one of the great things about being the United States of America is having women in our military and being the land of the free, the home of the brave. Women are just as brave as men. Women can use an AK-47 just like a man can with proper training. And I guarantee you, if we dropped women in a place of terrorism and absolute horror, that they could act in the same way a man could. And these are cited. And those are my images. And this is the research based on the annotated bibliography. Thank you for your time, and good morning.